Welcome back to the Brahma Bulletin. In today's video, I'm going to be previewing our game against the Arlington Renegades, the first of a back-to-back and home against our division rivals. Now, heading into the week, Arlington is one game ahead of us in the playoff standings at 2-2, and we are 1-3. So, let's get into the details of this game, shall we? Now, before I begin, though, let's talk about the Brahma in the room, and that is Coach Ward deciding to relieve Jamie Elizondo of his offensive coordinator duties. This was reported just a couple of days ago, and I think it was not very unexpected of the team. So Jamie Elizondo has been relegated to wide receivers coach, and Jimmy Johnson, no, not that Jimmy Johnson, the other Jimmy Johnson, he has been promoted to the new offensive coordinator. Now, Jimmy Johnson was serving as the running backs coach of the Brahmas. Now, I remember him as the tight ends coach of the Minnesota Vikings for about 6 years, not too long ago. So that's where I recognize him from. Now, I don't think that Jamie Elizondo did a horrible job. I don't think he did a great job either. Mostly, I think our problems are with the offensive line. So, is this going to help the team at all? I don't know. Now, listen to a quote from Hines Ward. He said, and I quote, "I'll possibly think about playing 2 quarterbacks and see if that provides a spark," end quote. Wow, that's something. Well, there's an old saying that I just made up, and that goes, "There ain't no drama like some Brahma drama." So let's hope the team puts this drama behind them and focus on the Arlington Renegades and getting our team back on the winning track and back into the playoff position. Now, before we get into the details of the game, for those who are betting people, it looks like the gambling lines are as follows. According to DraftKings, San Antonio is a 2.5 point favorite, and the over-under in this game is 35.5. Now, looking at the injury reports, the Brahms injury reports is as follows. Did not practice wide receiver Travis Johnson. Limited practice was Deshaun Downey, defensive end Mike Scott, and full participation offensive lineman Norman Price, defensive end Delonte Scott, wide receiver TJ Vasher, and offensive lineman Chidi Okiki. Now, it's good to see TJ Vasher is going to be back in the game and playing because we do need all the offensive help we can get. And we definitely need it on the O-line. So seeing Norman Price and Chidi Okiki back in full participation is good because we need that offensive help bad. All right. Looking at the stats, and oh boy, is it not really good. So Jack Cohn is 6th in the league with 625 yards of passing. He has a completion rate of 58%. His yards per attempt is 5.2. It's not that good. It's very average. I mean, that's the definition of average right there. He does have 5 touchdowns and just 2 interceptions. He does have a quarterback rating of 79.3. Now, if you think that's bad, look at Arlington. They have Kyle Sloter and Drew Plitt. Now, they've been kind of back and forth, but Kyle Sloter has been playing recently, and I think he's going to continue to be their starting quarterback. So Kyle Sloter is 329 yards, while Drew Plitt is 292 yards. Their quarterback rating is 64.5 and 65.1 QBR, respectively. So, not good. Rushing, well, we are not doing so well in rushing. Not no mo. Kalen Balaj, who used to lead the league in rushing, has fallen way down the list. He is now 8th in the league at 147 yards rushing on the season. He's only averaging 2.88 yards per carry. Gosh, that's hideous. He's only averaging 36.8 yards per game. 36.8 yards per game of rushing. That's hideous as well. But even worse is Arlington. Their running back is Devon Smith with 131 yards of rushing at 2.67 yards per carry. And 32 yards rushing per game. Gosh, talking about some bad running backs right there. All right, receiving. Wow. Arlington has their leading receiver at Sal Canella at 181 yards of receiving, 8.23 yards per catch, 45.2 yards per game. And he's way down their list. But even further down the list is our guys. Jalen Tolliver is our leading receiver with 114 yards receiving, 9.5 yards per catch, and 28.5 yards per receiving a game. Wow, that's not good. All right, and continuing on the trend of not good is offense as a team. This is bad. Arlington and San Antonio, well, we have the two worst offenses going up against each other this game. We're 7th, and Arlington is dead last. We have 221.8 yards of offense per game on average. Arlington is averaging 197.2 yards, less than 200 yards of offense per game. That's almost unheard of. Not even getting 200 yards of offense a game. How is that even possible? Wow. So this is going to be a defensive slugfest. So scoring, we are 6th in the league. We have scored 64 points this season, and Arlington is right behind us at 57 points total. Only Orlando has scored less points. So offensive ineptitude, pretty much. Defense, it gets better. Arlington is 3rd in the league. They're only allowing 274.5 yards of offense. And we are 5th in the league. And we are averaging 281.8 yards of offense allowed. So defense is a much better story. All right. Number 3 keys to victory. So number 1, the Brahma Bulldozers need to get better. Now, this has been my number 1 key pretty much every game since the beginning of the season, and it's going to continue to be the number 1 key for victory until the Bulldozers can prove that they are on the right path and doing better. So they need to continue to improve. They need to do something because our running game has been non-existent since week 1. And as I just read the stats to you, it's hideous. And we need to do better. And then we also need to protect our quarterback, Jack Cohn or whoever, better. Because right now, Jack's been kind of scrambling for his life back there. Hasn't been sacked too many times compared to other quarterbacks, but still, you can tell he's under pressure a lot. He's just throwing the ball at the line of scrimmage just to prevent being sacked. So we need to protect him better. The key offensive line, it's going to be beating a dead Brahma at this point, repeating it over and over. Offensive line, offensive line, offensive line. All right, number 2. Now, this is similar to my last week's key to victory when I was saying Jimmy Elizondo needs to call a better game. Well, Jimmy Johnson needs to call a good game, period. He's inheriting a pretty bad offense. We've just went over the stats, so it's going to be kind of tough for him, but he needs to show that he earned, or that this promotion was validated. Needs to do something. I don't know what it is. He needs to scheme better to kind of hide the deficiencies on the offensive line, whether it's mass protections or whether it's chipping, whether it's just some different type of plays, double forward passes like Houston did, something to cover up the fact that our offensive line isn't that good. So he needs to call a good game. Number 3, the defense needs to continue to step it up, and they need to carry the lion's share. It's just a fact. Right now, we're not playing complementary football. It's pretty much all the defense that's carrying all the weight. And unfortunate for them, they're going to have to continue to carry that weight until our offense can pick up the slack and do their part. All right, now comes for my favorite section, and that's the game predictions, which has not been very good lately. All right, number 1, quarterback Reed Sinnett will make his season debut at some point in the game. Now, Coach Ward has hinted that a quarterback change may be in the cards, and our offense needs a spark. So I think Jack Cohn will have a short leash if our offense looks bad, and I think it will be bad because we're playing Arlington and they have a good defense. But if it's worse than we expect, I would not be surprised to see Reed Sinnett come in at halftime. But I'm not going to go that far. I'll just say that I think Reed Sinnett will make his season debut at some point in the game. Number 2, the offense will score a touchdown on its opening possession. Now, we've done that in half the games so far this season, scoring a touchdown on our first offensive possession. I think we'll continue that. Not saying a whole lot because that might be the only touchdown we score. But I think we'll do good. I think we'll drop a good game plan. We'll step it up. We'll have the San Antonio crowd behind us. Our first game in almost a month here at the Alamo Dome. So I think the fans will energize the team and we'll drive right down and score a touchdown. Number 3, the defense will have at least 3 sacks and 1 takeaway. Now, we've been good at getting at the quarterback all season long. We're probably in the top 5 in sacks in the league. So I think we're doing really good in that aspect. I think we'll continue that. We'll have Delonte Scott back, and he's been getting at the quarterback lately. Even Luke Barku got a sack last week. So we'll continue that. And we've got in a takeaway, interception, mostly, well, exclusively interceptions in the past 3 games. So we'll continue that. We'll get another takeaway. I kind of suspect it's going to be a fumble this time, and not an interception, but I won't go that far and be that bold in my prediction. So off the record, I think it's going to be a fumble. On the record, it's just a takeaway. All right, number 4. The defense will hold Arlington to under 200 yards of offense total in the game. Now, we just went over the stats. They are averaging under 200 yards of offense. And with our defense and their ineptitude in offense, I think it's just a good combination that they will probably get 197 yards of offense in this game. We're not going to do too much better offensively, but I think we'll do just enough to get by. And that was number 4, so that's all my predictions. But now, except for the last one, and that is the moment you've all been waiting for, my score prediction. I believe this game will be a defensive struggle. Both offenses are substandard, and they will struggle to move the ball, and scoring will be at a premium. I think this is going to be an old school, grinded out football game from like the 70s. So if you like offense, this is not going to be the game for you. If you like defense, you'll probably enjoy this. With that being said, I think San Antonio will come out on top 12-6. That's right, you've heard me. 12-6. And that's it. That's it for me. I think it's time for this Brahma to be put out to pasture, at least until the next video. Until then, San Antonio, horns forward!